G'day y'all, number one Machop fan here with the 100 subscriber special, the Q&A session I promised. I'll be answering a whole bunch of the questions that I was asked in my announcement video that I posted a couple of weeks ago. Not everyone's questions are going to be answered. There are a few that I felt I couldn't really answer, typically for controversial reasons, so apologies to those people. It's not your fault, but mine. Okay, so let's begin. Kane, Mathis Muse asks, would you rather fight 100 tiny Scrafties or one giant Scrafty? No, I wouldn't, basically. For those of you who don't know, I actually suffer from ephebiphobia, which is fear of teenagers. And a lot of people from the Australian Pokemon community poke fun at that because Scrafty and its pre-evolved form Scraggy are based on the very teenagers I fear the most. To answer this question properly though, I'd lean towards the one giant Scrafty. The only reason I say that is because of an incident that occurred one night last week, when I actually caught an intruder, teenager, I don't know, didn't get a good look, breaking into my mother's car. Just the one, and I managed to scare it off with a simple bang 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 on my window. Proof I can beat one giant Scrafty, so to speak. Or that kind of thing. But if it was 100 of them, you'd have 50 breaking into the car, 50 breaking into the house murdering me. One couldn't do that alone. Though I'd be damned to give a Crime 101. Speaking of which, that intruder is actually still on the run. I didn't catch him. If you have any information, if you know about this guy, you can call Crime Stoppers on 1-800-333-000. A Rhombus asks, favourite shape? I'd have to say, sorry, but it's the hexagon, the six-sided shape. But I think that's more because, in addition to Pokemon, I'm also a fan of Bionicle. And the hexagon is actually quite a common shape in that. So too is the number 6, you'll find, which is probably why the hexagon is so common. Thomas H. asks, what is, your favourite 5 Pokemon of all time? It changes depending on my mood, really, but I'd say my top 5 are, in 5th place, Smeargle. I make no apologies. Most of my favourite Pokemon I like because they're weird, they're different, they don't fit the mould. And Smeargle's sketch, which allows it to learn pretty much everything, is how it doesn't fit the mould. And its huge success in the 2016 VGC season has made me love Smeargle even more. I make no apologies. In 4th place, we have Wobbuffet. Again, doesn't fit the mold because it has a tiny move pool that only allows it to use counter-attacks rather than normal attacks. Although Z moves have kind of, as well as Struggle, have thrown that off a bit. Like, it can actually learn All-Out Pummeling and Shattered Psyche. Not very powerful, just base 100, but it can learn them. It can actually attack, normally, if it has a Z Crystal. Ah well. In 3rd place, Shedinja. Its combination of Wonder Guard, which renders it immune to all attacks that are not super effective against it, and the fact that it can only ever have 1 hit point, appeal to me. Interesting thing with that Wonder Guard though, because it's a bug ghost type, it has 5 weaknesses. Ghost, Dark, Fire, Flying, and Rock. But in VGC, and I've done this to reasonable success in a couple of 2012 grassroots tournaments. You could actually have a partner use Soak on Shedinja to change its type to Pure Water, at which point it would only have 2 weaknesses, Electric and Grass, and be immune to everything else. In 2nd place, Chimchar. because it is the one Pokemon that I consider to be nearly as cute as Machop. And of course, my number one favourite is Machop. I realise you said favourite of all time, and most of that list is questionable because I came to like them, most of them, more recently. But Machop would still remain my top favourite Pokemon because it has been my favourite Pokemon for over a decade now. Pretty much exactly a decade by this point. Nicholas Bingham, fellow Ludicolo Patrol member, asks, were you happy about beating Jimmy Chen at Worlds? Worst Bingham impression ever. He is going to smack me for that. With all due respect to Mr. Chen, I'm just happy to have gotten a win at all at Worlds. I wouldn't have been the least bit surprised if I went through day one of last year's World Championships without getting any. I apologise for upsetting Jimmy. That was not my intention. I remember Jimmy at some point said that because I beat him 2-0, he said he lost both games because of a speed tie, but I'm pretty sure it was only one game. I forget which one. And the other one I won because I had made my Groudon outspeed his with the help of my my Tornadus' Icy Wind. Yes, I decided to bite the bullet, be creative, and use a freaking Tornadus without Tailwind. Sad, huh? I ended up going 4 wins, 4 losses at day one of the World Championships. But 2 of those wins, both of which were against Mexicans rather than Jimmy, did come down to speed ties. And in one case, a speed tie and a successfully hit Sheer Cold from my Smeagol. Which reminds me, I only used Sheer Cold once in that tournament, and it hit. 100% Sheer Cold hit rate! Boom! MRPST334 asks, where's the Derm? And also, are you going to do a vlog soon? For those of you who don't know, the Derm is the diesel electric rail motor. There were 10 of them built for Victoria. 9 of them still exist. I don't know which Derm you're referring to, but I know that 3, I'm pretty sure 3, are in Newport, including one that used to be based at the tourist railway I volunteer at, but has since been moved. As for the vlog, I can pretty much confirm that I will be going to the Europe Championships in London, with the intention of staying in the UK, the wider United Kingdom, for 3 weeks. Not just to compete in that tournament, but also to study England's rail network and to visit a whole bunch of heritage railways up there. And I do plan to do a vlog of my entire time, and that'll be a far bigger vlog than San Francisco was, because my time there will be far bigger, and obviously a far bigger challenge as well, for someone as sheltered as me. Evan Boyle asks, thoughts on the VGC format staying the same from 2017 to 2018? I'd be surprised if it did that, really. I haven't seen any confirmation that that's going to be the case. If it does, it's going to be with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and its Alola Dex, which I'm sure is going to be different. But I'm sure it's more likely it's going to be all decks, like national decks, because that's the usual pattern. We get 3 championship series per generation. If history is anything to go by, it's single decks only in the first year, second year national decks, third year also national decks. Although it was unusual to see to see us being allowed to use the Uber legends like Groudon and Xerneas last year, so I don't know what to expect in 2019, but we'll play that by ear. But I do expect we're going to see national decks rules next year. That said, I'm pretty sure the Europe Championships are still going to use the 2017 rules, which is a huge surprise, and I dare say a little bit of a letdown for the Europeans, because I'm sure they'd want equal treatment regarding being able to play the VGC 18 rules properly. If memory serves, that weekend is actually going to be when when Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are going to be released. What if they're going to do VGC 2018 with us having less than 24 hours of playing. You see a whole bunch of NFEs if they did that. I really hope they don't, but I don't know. I think 2017 would be the lesser of two evils in that respect. But I'm sure there's going to be some criticism for it. And last question. James Katros asks, when is Machop to the top coming back? When I get good again, basically. 2017 has actually been my worst ever season. Okay, so I did... excuse me. I did finish runner-up in one tournament, that side event during the Oceania Championships. But other than that, my season's been pretty... Part of it was because I ended up falling into the trap of using the same team for the entire season, a trap I did not want to fall into. But beyond that, I've definitely had a massive serve of humble pie. Now I've got a stomachache because of it. So yeah, I'm definitely in rebuilding mode. So I'm just aiming small for the next season. I still want to win a tournament properly. But I realise it's not so easy, especially for someone who lives in Victoria. Like, 2017 may have been my worst season, but it was my country's best. In fact, it was my state's best, Victoria, because all but one of our international and world champions hails from Victoria. So I've got to run a gauntlet every time I attend a Premier Challenge just to make myself heard. That is Victoria. And that was something I realised when I made runner-up at that side event as well. I only faced one... actually, I don't know if the others were from Victoria, but I can tell you I faced nobody who I've faced before. So nobody knew how I played, and that's probably why I did so well. And that's something I wonder about going into the Europe Championships. Nobody there knows how I play, and I could use that to my advantage. We'll see in time. And yeah, that is everything. I'm not sure if you'll be hearing from me again, but at the latest, it should be Halloween-ish, because that's when I plan to take my trip to the UK. So, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for all your support. It means more to me than you know. And hopefully we'll see you again soon.